Welcome to Unstoppable Agent. This is the show where real estate agents come to get tips on building their business, building their wealth, and building a life of impact and significance. I'm your host, Brian White. I am a real estate agent and team leader with EXP out of Dallas. And I am super excited today because our guest is absolutely amazing. She is a rock star. She's relatively new to EXP, but she's already experiencing a ton of success. Let me go ahead and bring her on. Tammy, we are so glad to have you.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. So you're here. Let's just start by celebrating, right? You're here because you won the prestigious Icon Award. I say won, you earned the prestigious Icon Award back in May. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The great thing about the Icon Award, right? So there's a lot of real estate companies out there, and a lot of them, they'll give you a plaque, maybe a ball cap. Some of them will even give you a certificate or something with a frame that you can hold up. The award at EXP means a little something different.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. You're right. We have a lot of plaques. I have a lot of plaques, and recently decided they were taking up too much space. And my husband was sad, but I'm like, they're not doing anything. But hey, check out stock money.
It's a little something different, right? And it builds a future and can create a legacy for you and your family too. It's pretty amazing. Tell me about you. Tell me about your real estate story. How long you've been in business? How did you catch me up on where you're at and where you've been?
Yeah, so I've been selling real estate for 19 years. I was a solo agent for a long time. Prior to this, I was at a really big national brand, and that was a really big decision. As you have momentum in your career, and reason that I was looking for something different is I'm very entrepreneurial minded. And when you think about the big brands, it's funny because I did not know that this was the example that Brent Grove would use. Netflix approached Blockbuster and they're like, hey, do you want a part of this? And they're like, no, embarrassing. And we're the big kids on the block, and they're no more. And one thing about real estate is it's the same, but it's always changing. And so I don't know what made me feel like this, but it really started about 2 years ago. I'm like, these models are old, the way they pay, the way they work, what they offer. Like, that's not even, and I think it started because we didn't use anything our brokerage had. We paid a big franchise fee. We paid for all these other things. And there was nothing wrong with that. But all of a sudden it occurred to me, is there another way to do real estate? And then of course I learned about all the other things EXP has, but that's what really started my journey of, is there a different way? And it was a very difficult decision. We had phenomenal relationships. And if you're a seasoned agent considering something like this, and you've been in a high level production in your company, there's this fear because, just being very transparent, you have different equity with the owners of the company, and you maybe in some way have special privileges. And so my fear was that we would go to EXP, that was this big brokerage where nobody knew us, and those things that maybe I felt were benefit wouldn't have anymore. Like, I couldn't just pick up the phone, or someone wouldn't do a special favor for my IT, or wouldn't stop what they were doing at 9 o'clock at night to fix my stuff, which I'm not even saying that was anything that, I'm not that girl, but I felt like if I needed to exercise that, I could. And so I was very afraid of what would happen. So that's why it took me so long to make a decision, but it was very interesting how it happened. It was organic, but once we saw the numbers, and it was one of those things where at this stage I thought, if I didn't have to work harder, but I could make more money, why would I not do it? And so it started with that before I knew of any of the other benefits.
So it's interesting, and you hit on something that a lot of people share, and that's number one, they're loyal, right? So they've got great relationships, and they feel like my company helps me get here. Or some companies make you feel like they're responsible for your success, right? So you feel loyal. And then there's also this, okay, now I'm a top producer and I'm getting special treatment, and I'm not going to get that somewhere else. So it sounds like, unless I'm mishearing you, that since arriving at EXP, neither of those things have turned out to be true. Tell me about your experience, because you've only been with us for 6 months or so. So tell me about your experience.
Yeah, so what's funny is I mentioned that we would have special privileges, although we never tried to exercise that. But there was this fear, like, but what if I don't have it? And the other thing is this: so where I am production wise, my people who help me with my business, assistants and transaction coordinators, I'm very kind, and they will tell you, like, I'm a people pleaser. But probably the hardest thing that if they had to pick things they like least about me, like, if I need an answer, I need it nowish, because in real estate, one thing impacts the next thing, Yeah. And I'm a girl who likes to text and email, and that's what our culture likes. But if I'm waiting for you to respond to an email for a long time, then I can't keep getting the ball down the field. So my fear was I'm going to come here because it's very digital, right? They tell us how it's digital. You got to log into the world. Like, I'm going to play a video game to talk to someone. I don't have time for this. And I'm tech savvy, but my brain went to, is this going to slow my business down? And then they mentioned a state broker, and the broker we had before, like, we were friends with, like, we spent Christmas with them. So already, like you mentioned, loyal, that was one component. But the other component was like, this person doesn't know me. Are they going to answer my call? So what I've experienced, which has been brilliant, if I had to succinctly explain what EXP is, it's like the Chick-fil-A of real estate. Now, you're in Texas, so you kind of get it, but maybe not fully. I remember the story of Truett Cathy, and this is like early on, like when they started to have a lot of success, and they were directly competing with Boston Market, and Boston Market could do a lot of stuff. And so the story is that Truett Cathy, all of his execs, his marketing people are around this big table, and they're talking about Boston Market and what they have, and they're introducing new ideas of things they can do to make Chick-fil-A better, more food, more all these things. And all of a sudden, as the story goes, Truett Cathy begins aggressively beating on the table, and everybody looks up, and he said, we are not going to do that. We are going to do two things really well. We're going to make the best dang chicken sandwich, and we're going to give people the best experience. And that's it, because we're not trying to be everything to everyone. We want to do these things very well. And what I learned about coming to EXP is there are so many divisions, but they are so good because, and they're so responsive because that's all they do. It's funny, this morning it's 5 a.m. here. I'm on my bike, my Peloton bike, okay? And for the first part of the ride, I've got my computer up and I really need to write an offer, and I go to log into SkySlip and had a problem. I remember somewhere in my emails, there's like a support email, but also it's 5 a.m. Who am I getting? So just because I'm annoyed or whatever, I'm like, I'm just going to go to the world, because I'm like, who knows what their hours are? Ironically, tech support, I guess because we're worldwide, so they're 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So I message him. Also, side note, don't ever do it because they do respond quickly. I'm like huffing and puffing on this Peloton bike for whoever this guy is. It's probably like, call 911, not me. Like, this is the wrong number.
Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for.
So before 5:15 in the morning, he had resolved my issue with SkySlope, where I could have never done that where I was before. So having that support was really incredible. Anytime I've reached out to a broker, it's funny, my last broker, I really didn't reach out to because I knew he was so busy. And even if I have a legal question, we have local attorneys like for real estate that I just reach out to. But I find myself reaching out to them all the time because they're so accessible. There have been times which they shouldn't even be doing this. But I remember one night, it was like Saturday night at 10. I'm like, hey, I know it's Do Not Disturb. Hopefully you'll see this Monday. I'm not even registering that they were. Seconds later, I get a reply, which they obviously are not obligated to that because it was super late at night. But they're always super helpful. I feel like they know me, even though I didn't think they would, because it's a state broker. They're different locations. So all these things have been very refreshing. And what I thought was going to be the one component of something I might lose, it's actually taken our business to another level. In fact, my husband would shoot me in the back of the head if he heard me say this, but there's some expensive software we have that does a lot of accounting that I like am married to because I think it's awesome. But I remember he was reaching out to the accounting team one day and he's like, hey, could we ever have a spreadsheet that did blah, blah, blah? And instantly this enormous report appeared, and it comes twice a week. So I know any minute now he's like, will you please cancel our CSU? I know that's coming for me because they provide this for us. But anyway, like those are things we would have never asked for before. I don't think we could have gotten it even if we did. Just the constant availability. And then for us having a team, and honestly for agent attraction, I just actually sponsored a girl, and she's not going to be on our team because the other cool thing is this. Let's say if you have a team, they could be an awesome agent, but they might not be the right fit for your culture. Not saying they're not awesome, but you still know that there's like an opportunity to help them and support them, and you want to be in business with them, so to speak. So to be able to tell them, like, let me show you what EXP University is like, and these are things they've never heard of before. Like, they don't have these tools anywhere. So to watch them succeed and to know that I didn't have to create that library prior to being here, I was in coaching groups. And they're like, you need to create an education library. Who has time? Yeah, I do. With what time though? So to already have that in play from top agents, and when people are like, how often are the trainings? I'm like, open the calendar. What time do you want to do a training today? Or sit in a Google Meet or whatever. Like, pick your hours.
60 plus hours a week, an absolute insane amount of training each and every week. And is all of it relevant to you? Probably not, but there's something that is, right? If it's sphere of influence, lead conversion, script practice, whatever it might be, there's something for just about everybody. You hit on something with the brokers that I think is just phenomenal. Number one, our brokers are amazing. Everybody at our company is an owner. So literally everyone has ownership in the company, and no one works harder at any company than the owner. When we're all owners, then everybody finds a reason to help. Right? We're all problem solvers, rather than saying, oh, I'll wait a few days to get back to you. Oh, I don't have to do that except 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. It's, oh, you know what? I'm not doing anything right now. Let me see if there's somebody I can help. And you find that people, that you get help, and you find that you can help, and we all help each other because we're all owners.
That's right. Absolutely.
So tell me about your team. So it sounds like you and your husband are in business together. Tell me about your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. So we have now it's officially a mega icon team. And so some are brand new agents, some are seasoned. And it's been so much fun for us because in this transition to EXP, we were very nervous. And actually, some of our team members did not come. And I want to say that out loud because I think sometimes we want to sugarcoat things like we're talking to a top producing team and oh gosh, that was our fear. Like, all of your agents didn't come. And what we found, it was actually a catalyst of growth for us because they were great agents. Nothing negative on them. But what we didn't realize when we were in the middle, but we were for what would be growth, they were holding us back because they were not growth minded. And that's probably that. It didn't sound like that when the transition occurred and they weren't going to come with us, but that was what was revealed. And we actually saw the other agents really go to a different level when we put them into
Good.
this environment. So one, don't be scared of change. If that's coming, like sometimes that's the healthiest thing that can occur. But our team, they're phenomenal agents. They're full-time agents. They've really responded well to EXP, but honestly, we are just better resourced. So we're able to offer them more support. Honestly, that was one of the big things that triggered us making a move. Like, I know that this is not all for like teams or team agents. A lot of times when you're a team owner, you're a business owner, and you're offering support and services, at some point, like if you continue to offer a lot of support and services, it's just taking and taking from you. And so with EXP's model being much more profitable, it enabled us truly to help share that back to our team members, which they're very happy with, but also create some margin and space for us too and our profitability to feel comfortable being able to do that.
That's awesome. That's great. So as you've become more profitable, you've been able to help your agents with a better opportunity. That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Let's talk about new agents. Let's talk about new agents for a second, because like you said, it's not everybody's on a team. Not everybody has a team. So if you were a new agent getting started in the business right now, what advice would you give yourself?
So this is incredible. I did not learn this till year 5 in my business. And I'm so sad because when I got into real estate, that's when it was super hot. And about year 5, when I learned this, it was like 5 years too late and 2 years before coming into recession. So like I missed the opportunity to really capitalize on wealth. So the thing I learned at year 5 is you have to have a coach. But at that point in time in my whole career before EXP, I had to pay for that coach. I'm still saying pay for coaches. There are people within EXP that are coaches and you pay for them. But what we alluded to before is as good as anything I ever learned from coaching, especially early in my career, is EXP University on steroids. And so having that at my fingertips, because nobody understands what real estate is. Everyone thinks it's flexible. No one thinks about how your phone rings. They just think like get your license and your phone rings. Yep. And nobody knows that there's any sort of financial investment that you might need to make into your business, all these things. So I think that's why our attrition rate is so high. I think it's like between 6 months and 5 years, like the percentage of people that drop out of real estate is so high. Had I not just been really stubborn and then at year 5 found a coach, I would not have made it, to be very honest. So I keep thinking back to my career, like if I had known about EXP when I got started, and because I'm a sponge, I'm teachable. And if I had found this earlier, if it existed, I don't think it existed. I don't know what year, but I don't know that it existed when I got into real estate. Where would I have been like in my career to have all of these things available? And what you said was so key. And it is, to me, I know this sounds super chintzy. Obviously I'm on EXP Talk, so I can be rah EXP, but sure. It is the most brilliant model ever because I think every other brokerage, excluding the ones that are similar models or whatever, but the environment is such that you're my competition, so I'm not going to share anything with you. And even like the icon, okay, oh great, you've been successful. Tell everyone your secrets and we'll help reward you for that, but share it. And so it creates this culture of that. Plus when we sponsor and there's rev share, like I want to see all these people become successful. I'm going to take time for their calls and coach them because we all win together. And so it's such a brilliant model versus the old model where the broker's sitting in the office like, hey, tell us if you know of any great agents that we can recruit. It's very different. But what I love about it is while that might be beneficial financially, it just creates a different environment and culture where everyone wants to win. And that if there were no money involved, but obviously that probably helps incentivize people, but it's just very positive and reassuring. And it makes the whole profession better.
It does. I think about guys like Dan Beer and Kyle Whistle, which are the two largest agents in San Diego. The two largest agents, and Dan Beer's up there as 1, 2, or 3, depending on how you count, is the biggest producer at EXP. And those two guys are sharing everything that they've got, like literally all the way down to financials and investments that they're making. And they are competitive. There is no way they don't bump into each other and their teams don't bump into each other. But those people are literally P&L movers for our company and they share. And it's just when the big dogs do it, it's culture and everybody else follows suit. So that's terrific advice. And coaching is the best in business and the best in sports have coaches. Tiger Woods had coaches. They're the best golfers out there. Football teams have coaches. Everybody needs to continue to get better. If you're not getting better, then you're shrinking, then you're getting worse, then you're moving backwards. It's important for all of us to move forward. So you've got a big mega icon. So what does that mean? 40 plus agents and
and just by status, 11 agents, just by like classification minimum number. But I'm working on that. We've only been here since February, Brian, but we're working on getting to 40.
Okay, awesome. So where does your business come from? Tell me about that.
Pretty much at this stage, I've been doing it 19 years. It didn't start like this, but it's pretty much all sphere and referral. But also I get a ton from social media, and we do media. And so that's where, but again, it's our web presence or what, that's where a lot comes from. And our team has been number one in our marketplace for about 7 years now. So we work really hard on the brand and getting that and getting referrals even online as a result of that.
That's good. So you broke up there a little bit. So I want to make sure I want to go back and play that. So you started talking about social media. So specifically, what are you doing with social media?
Yeah, so very consistently, of course, Instagram and Facebook. It's my goal that I will dabble in more in TikTok and all the others, but really consistent with that. And if I can encourage anyone on anything, it's so funny. I recently did a training. This group here was like, hey, like your social media is so good. Will you come teach agents how to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I told him, I was like, I want you to go look at my Facebook page right now. And they looked at my videos and I'm like, okay, like look at the engagement. And I like pointed to one person, like, that's my mom. Okay. Like she's like the only one who comments, and I don't even get a ton of likes. But when I tell you on a daily basis, someone says, come list me or work with me as a buyer. And they're like, I've been watching your videos for years. Yeah. And so the impact is there. So I don't care what your budget is or what you do. You put information out there. Our team, we just did a 30-day challenge where I'm like, for 30 days, I want you to commit to me. You're going to do videos. And they're blown away. Like, they're like, I know you've been telling us for years, but like, we had no idea. They're getting come list me, let's buy calls. So even when you heard me say I had videos for years, they just started doing videos in the month of July. And now they're committed to it because they're seeing those results. We do a lot of video, but just in general, engaging with people and then just branding through Instagram, consistency there through a variety of different ways.
That's terrific. No, that's great advice. I think too many people worry about what the content is, or what they look like, or what do I say, or whatever. Well, what do you say? So if you're talking to a client, what are the things that they say? Or you say, what questions? Your last showing you and on, what questions did they ask you? And you're walking through the house. What were the things? What's going on in the market? What's going on in the neighborhood? We're professionals in the business. Talk about what you do. And I do a lot of video. We're doing that now, and so often that's the feedback we get. And it's you're an expert, and the people watching in most cases are not. Anything that you have to say is going to be informational and valuable to them. Tammy, speaking of valuable, I want to make sure we get and that we capture, where are you? So you're from South Carolina, but where in South Carolina? Where can people? I want to include your socials in the description here so people can find you. But where in South Carolina are you?
Okay, so I'm going to say the upstate. That means nothing, but I'll help you, everyone, with this. Go Tigers. We're near the Clemson Tigers. Okay. And so very important. I hope you're a Clemson Tiger fan. If not, it's fine. You're actually in Dallas. So are you a Cowboys fan?
I'm an Aggie, so I'm a Texas A&M fan for sure.
That's a crime. We're Dallas Cowboys fans. Ironically, my husband's a huge fan. But for this area, Clemson Tigers, we're college football over here. And then Greenville, South Carolina is very well known. It's one of the top 20 fastest growing cities in the nation right now. And then if you like water, Lake Hartwell is the largest recreational lake in the Southeast. So Lake Hartwell and Lake Kiowee. So those are, if people know those areas. I live in Anderson. It's like, I'm actually in Greenville right now, but those are the kind of cities that people hear about a lot in our area.
That's terrific. Like I said, we'll include your socials so people can find you. Hey, if you're moving to Lake Hartwell, if you're looking for a lake house, then Tammy and her team are your peeps. I do want to wrap up. Tammy, you've been amazing. Thank you for joining me today. Any parting thoughts or comments that you'd like to leave with?
I think one thing we know right now is real estate's changing, and I love that we are now partnered up with a brokerage that is about educating not just on what real estate is, but what's coming, and helping us understand the resources available so that we can be better at what we do. But really want to encourage people to network. I want to pit stop here really quick. So I've been because you mentioned Kyle Whistle, we're all in like the Tom Ferry organization. I've been doing elite coaching and team coaching for a long time. And when I came to EXP, it's funny, my husband for a long time was like, you don't need to be coached anymore. And I need to say two things about that. It's funny because he loves sports, and the way I got him, it's what you said earlier. I said, listen, a football team gets coached 80 hours a week for one game. So if I'm going to
Yeah.
play my best game, I need to be coached. But he's been telling me for a long time, like, you don't need this anymore. And I would tell him, like, but the connections I have, the networking I have, the referral we have. And so I've been like advocating for coaching for that, because that was a big piece. He's like, I have to admit, you get a ton of referrals, you get a lot of stuff from your mastermind groups. And I joined EXP, and it was like, wow, like it's the same thing. But I'd never experienced that with a brokerage. So I would say, get connected, get in the groups, get on Workplace, join mastermind calls, really get to know the other agents in our company around the world, grow your business that way. And what's really cool too, everybody will help everyone, especially if you're in one state working with someone else in another. They're not seeing you as competition, so they really don't mind helping you grow. Rip off and duplicate, do the same thing in the area, support each other, refer back and forth. Do not let someone leave your state without you being the one to pair them up with an EXP agent. Make sure you make that connection happen. It's been a really exciting transition, and it's just really awesome to learn all the people and things that are part of EXP.
Yeah, we make that referral game so incredibly easy. When I got people moving to South Carolina, you're my girl.
Yeah, thanks. Same for Dallas.
Hey, thank you for joining me today. It really has been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate it.